Hello, Earth Angels. So ever since I started my spiritual awakening and this journey of self-actualization and becoming more aware of the different energies, angels, light beings, spirit energies, all those wonderful elementals that surround us, all these different energies that surround us, all these different energies that are here to support us on our individual and greater journey. Ever since I became aware of all of this and awakened to everything, I was also very much awakened to the idea that my path of self-actualization was not just for me. It was not just about learning about myself and understanding and healing myself. It was about learning to embrace all of this and then to share it with others, to help other people to grow on their paths, to help other people awaken in their spiritual journey. And through some of my experiences, my personal experiences in life, I have been able to help others where they may be able to associate to some of the things that I've been through, but also taking away from my own personal experiences, but the teachings that come from those experiences, the kind of healing that I gained after going through certain trauma in my life, even in later life. And this is what I've been able to share with all of you now, here today. And that is why I was very much pushed. I didn't understand why Spirit wanted me to write a book in the beginning. They just said to me one day, quite early on in my awakening, you're going to write a book and, start now. So I sat at my desk with a laptop and I was like, so what do I write? You want me to write this book? What do you want it to be about? They said to me, this book is going to be about you and start from the beginning. So I did. And writing the book alone was quite a healing and enlightening journey. And there was some certain realizations that took place and deeper teachings that came through whilst I was writing the book. So it's been wonderful to be able to share all of that and the knowledge and the wisdom that came with all of that with all of you. So if you are interested in reading my book, it is called A Survivor of Love by Sunita Rocket. The wonderful artwork on the front that you will see is thank you to my wonderful Christian, my husband, who is also the one held responsible for this wonderful artwork of the ancient secret of the flower of life. That's the book from Drumbelow. Melchizedek. He does some wonderful workshops and he has the book called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, and this symbol behind me is the flower of life. It's not just because I'm a massive Coldplay fan, which I am a bit of a Coldplay fan as well, because he does wonderful inspirational spiritual music. If you listen to the words in his music along with other artists, I don't think that some of these artists actually realise that there's such depth that's coming through in the words that they're singing, and I love music that brings these hidden meanings, these deeper understandings and these truths through. So yes, my Christian Rocket, there you go, for the exploiting some of his artwork there. So yeah, if you can get my book, I do hope that that will also enlighten and help you on your own journey. And like I said, all the work that I do, I'm here to share it with everybody. It's not just for myself. And my ultimate mission in this life that I have been made very aware of from early on in my awakening experience is that I am here to enlighten everyone, the world, with truth. Whether that be truth in certain religious text, whether that be truth in values, in understanding the self, understanding the mechanics of self, understanding life beyond this earth, whether in the etheric, within the heavenly realms, whether within different planetary sources, aliens, light beings, everything and anything. I am here to ultimately bring truth and to help people to understand some of the workings of these different beings, and to life, to the universe, because we are all part of that infinite universe. And the ultimate truth that I am here to bring to all of you is the truth in that you are an amazing, infinite being. You are incredible. You hold so much potential inside you that you've barely even scratched the surface. No matter where you are on your spiritual path, on your enlightening experiences thus far, you have literally just scratched the surface to how incredibly amazing you are. Now, when I say infinite, you know, this isn't just referring to how incredible we are at being able to achieve absolutely anything that we want to achieve. This is also in the understanding that as a soul we are infinite. We have led many, many lifetimes, and many of us on different planets within different galaxies. We have had so many experiences that we are such wise, wise souls. And what this lifetime is about, it's about unlocking some of the memories that have been closed down from some of these lifetimes. Sometimes necessary, because we don't want to drag up some of the, you know, terrible hurt, trauma and pain of certain past lifetimes. It's not necessary to resurface in this lifetime. But sometimes it is necessary to resurface that, because we may not have released it properly in previous lifetimes, so it will somehow show itself and resurface in this lifetime. But what I'm saying is that we have lived many, many lifetimes over. Ultimately, we come from Source, and we begin this journey on growing and expanding through our learning, through our wisdom. What we are learning is to be happy, to be at peace. And once we can start living most days of our life in that peaceful, happy state, and happy doesn't mean jumping for joy and that everything is perfect and blissful in life and that we're, you know, loaded, living in a mansion, 4 cars set outside. This is not perfect, blissful life. The blissfulness is what comes from within. The blissfulness is when the world around us could be falling apart, yet within we are still at peace. We are happy. We are our God oneness within. So that is the journey of this life that we are striving for, in a sense, and through striving for this truth of our self, our true essence of ourself, our God oneness, it can be difficult. It can be difficult getting there. It can take many months, years, lifetimes. But don't give up, because you are amazing. You are incredible. No matter how tough life gets, nothing can keep you down until you agree that you are going to stay down. You have choices in everything you do. Very rarely are those choices taken away from us. As adults, that is what we are blessed with. We are blessed with choice. We may feel trapped sometimes. We may feel like, well, I don't have a choice because I can't go anywhere, because I can't, if I leave this unhealthy situation, this house where I'm not happy, this relationship, I'm not going to have anywhere to go. I'm not going to have anywhere to live. Nobody's going to help me. Sometimes if we're not prepared to take those leaps and jumps into the darkness, into the unknown, in search of our happiness, then you're never truly going to find that true happiness. We live in a society where, for many different reasons, we are suppressed from the truth of just how incredible we are. And, we start our lives as a young child, and some of us may be, punished for different things, told that we're naughty, we're bad, you mustn't do that, told not to upset somebody else, just do as you're told. We're conformed when we go through school. We're put through this conforming state where if you don't do as you're told, you're punished, even though those things might not be particularly bad action, so to speak. You're just going against what you've been told to do. So you're taught very early on that in order to be accepted, we must do as we're told. We must conform. And that doesn't leave us. When we leave school, when we start growing up, we go into the big wide world, into society. We start work in our careers within the workplace, and we feel that we very quickly have to change ourselves to conform, to fit in to this society of the workplace we now live. We want to be accepted. We want to be liked. We're so used to being told whether we're liked, whether we're good, whether we're bad, whether we're doing things right or wrong, that we become reliant on other people's opinions of what they think is right and wrong, good and bad, whether we're acceptable, whether we're likable, whether we're attractive, and all of these false beliefs we build in ourselves as our own belief system are largely what has been programmed in from the outside world, in from all the different people that have played a part in our lives, somehow, big or small. So we're kind of programmed to think and feel a certain way, and to have these ideas about ourselves that actually, if you start digging a little deeper and getting to know yourself more, and starting to explore the inner depths and essence of who you truly are, what you're truly about, you start to realize that truly you are incredible. You are a part of so much more than what these physical eyes see. You are a part of so much more than being a doctor or a nurse or a taxi driver or whatever job you do. You're so much more than a mother, a father, a grandparent. Though these are hugely responsible roles in life, they're another role. It's another part of life that we have to play out this role. And we must try and do our best in all the roles that we are here to fulfill. And if you are a parent, then first and foremost, that is your priority role, yes. But it's not the ultimate essence of who you are and what you're about. Like I said, you're a part of so much more, and it's a wonderful journey to go inside the self and start exploring a bit more just who you are, getting to know the self, the true self, that little bit more. So as I was saying before, all these past lives that you've lived. Now, throughout these past lives, you will have picked up different abilities, different traits. You will have engrained certain memories into the soul memory, which can all start to play a part in this very lifetime, here and now. Not too long ago, I've been made very aware over the last couple of years that my words are to spread to bigger audiences. These YouTube videos are kind of the start of all of that. And with the responsibility put on my shoulders at times, there's times when it has felt like, this is what you're asking of me. Can I do this? And I love watching, Gandhi, the movie Gandhi. It's a little bit dated, but also the movie that talks of it tells the life of Saint Francis. But I love the movie, quote for quote. Everything that comes out of the mouth of Saint Francis, oh, it just blows you away. It's deep on so many levels. Even just to hear the surface of the words, they're beautiful. But yeah, that film's called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. The title alone is incredibly meaningful to me. So yeah, I watch different movies, and I like to read. I'm reading the book of Gandhi at the moment, the story of my experiments with truth. Go figure, because that is what I'm here. That's what I'm all about. I'm hearing truth and enlightenment to others, which also has its things, you know, over the last couple of years. I cannot lie. The karmic flow for me, as I have increased in my frequency and energy over these last few years, has meant that so too has the karmic flow. Sometimes I literally have to say something and it happens, but I'll tell you a quick story about that in a minute. However, as I was saying, when I read of some of these some ancient saints, but some saints of also not so long ago, like Gandhi, and I listen to the words, and I watch how they responded to different things. I mean, Gandhi, when you read into the life of him, in the film alone kind of gives you a bit of an indication as to some of the suffering that he had to go through. But my goodness, he taught a nation of people in love and in truth. He taught peace. He taught non-violence. He taught us this whole new way of dealing with situations and politics and all those governmental things without violence needing to be necessary whatsoever. And he achieved that for about 6 years. He achieved to maintain this state, this whole country of billions of people, who many people might suggest to be very poor, low class, maybe because of their lack of education, backwards thinking, or whatever it might be. But my goodness, this nation of people maintained 6 years of peacefulness, and that was all thanks to Gandhi. That was thanks to their leader, and he taught these wonderful ways. Now, when I listen and watch these saints in action through films, when I watch Jesus, the Jesus movies, another one of our wonderful historic teachers, I look and I think, okay, I see what you're asking of me here, and I understand. I don't know how this journey is going to get me there, but I trust that if this is what I'm here to do, that God will lead the way, that I will be guided in all the right directions that will make it all possible. So I'm guided to do certain things along the way, like this YouTube video, and all the others on my channel. Please do subscribe, and then you'll be kept posted with all the new videos that I post up. But yeah, I would watch these saints and I would think, my goodness, every word that comes out of their mouth, the way that they respond to some really harsh, difficult situations, and they just do. And with the most perfect words, and the calm that is maintained. And don't get me wrong, some may say I have the patience of a saint in certain areas, but I'm human, and I'm still very much working on my own healing journey. And yes, there's going to be times that life, for different reasons, is going to get on top of me, and I might have a little bit of a mental crash or breakdown. And thankfully, usually my wonderful hubby is there to help me, pick me up, and I'm very grateful and lucky to have him in my life. But it's, there is a lot of times that actually all I need during those times when I break is just to be alone in solitude and to slowly build myself back up. As I've kind of said in a previous video that I did, I call these times falling off my unicorn. And, you know, when you're on your unicorn, everything's wonderful. You're in this elevated state. Your head's kind of in the clouds. And then when you fall for whatever reason, it's quite a high unicorn, so it can be quite a drop. Sometimes you land with a bit of a crash, sometimes you just graze your knees. Depending how hard you fall depends very much on how long it might take you to get back on that unicorn and carry on in your happy space. But these falls are often necessary because they are too a part of our healing journey. But as we progress in our awakening and our journey into the true self, we begin to get over some of these traumas, some of these falls a little bit quicker. We learn to deal with whatever it is that made us fall, and we learn to heal and release through that fall, and we find the strength to climb back up on that unicorn and carry on. You know, another notch on that list of experiences that life has blessed us with, the good and the bad. So yes, I do very much still react at times to certain things, and that is my human self very much still in operation. Some of these more enlightened beings that I watch for inspiration as well as learning from them, like Paramahansa Yogananda and his guru Sri Yukteswar, some of the wonderful yogis, the yogi masters out there around to teach us. You know, some of the Buddhist teachings, even, you know, some of the Quran, the Bible. In every religious text there is truth at its base, and we mustn't forget that. When we read some of these texts or we hear of them, what we tend to hear more often is other people's interpretations of them. But actually there is such deeper, stronger meaning, and you know, none of it is negative, none of it is bad. It is man that has made it negative. For example, anyone that ever has grown up with the notion that fear God and fear should never ever go in the same sentence, ever. God is not fear, God is love. And God is love in many reflections. That love carries no judgment. It is compassionate. It is limitless. No matter what we do, no matter who we are, no matter what we have done in our lives, good and bad, we are never ever going to stop being loved. We are never ever going to be judged by this source that is pure love. So, lesson number 1, in truth. Kind of, you know, some of these churches, they sprawl all over the outside, you know, God is love. And then you go inside and then some of them are saying, oh, and do good or God will punish and da-da-da-da. And you know, there's a whole weaving of contradictory going on in some of these different religions. And, you know, I actually embrace all religion. It's not that I put any of it down. Any path that leads to God is a path worth walking. But try not to get bogged down with other people's interpretations of what they think certain things might be. If you do read any sort of religious text, which you can gain wonderful insight and teachings from, read from your heart, okay? In time, I will be doing a book where I have been worked with and guided a lot by Jesus, Moses, the Hindu god Ganesh, by the mother goddess Isis, the ancient Egyptian goddess, lots of different energies, and light beings, cosmic beings that have also worked with me to bring deeper truth and meaning and interpretation to some of the text used in some of these religious books. And actually, when they bring a certain translation to certain words, and then you go back and read that whole paragraph or chapter again, it brings a whole new meaning. So actually what's happened is it is the interpretation of this original text that has been misinformed. We have been misinformed, if you like. So it's about, reading from the heart. As I said, in time, that will all be put into a book for everybody, and I may even make a video at some point addressing all of that, because I do feel that it is knowledge that is kind of desperate to get out there. So many people are turned away from the idea of religion, and I don't believe that we need to be in any particular category. I don't believe that we need to be any particular religion. I myself am not religious. I embrace all religion, but I don't feel the need to walk their path of rituals, if you like. There are certain things that I do love to be a part of. I love the idea of Islam. I love the idea of the praying at certain times of the day, and I love the idea that across the world at the same time of the day, the world, all those of Islam, they go into prayer together. And I just think, the energy that radiates, all these people in prayer at this one moment, oh, it's incredible. Whether we believe in certain teachings of the Quran or not, it does not matter, because these people who they're doing amazing work. Actually, there may be a lot of stigma attached to Islam with extremist groups and all these things that go off in the media and things that go on around the world, but actually at the heart of it, it is a beautiful religion. And yes, when all those people go into prayer at the same time, oh, what incredible energy that we are all being blessed with within that moment. So I'm good at sidetracking. I'm good at talking, aren't I? Sorry. So just getting back to my point, that when I watch some of these different saints in action, when I'm reading about them, and I remember watching the movie Gandhi just a few months ago and saying, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to be like this? Like, I trust and I will do whatever is asked of me. When those higher speak, I listen, because as I've said before in a previous video, I am here in service. I am here in service to God, the angels, the cosmic beings, the planetary sources, to mankind, to the animal kingdom, to Mother Earth. I serve all and everybody, and that is my true being. That is my true heart self, and I know that, and I have given my life in service. I have offered myself in absolute service to all, and that's what I do. So yeah, when the higher speak, I listen. I might not always understand. I might not always know exactly how I'm going to get to a certain destination, but somehow it happens and I get there, as I've learned from previous experience over these last few years. And again, just reading my autobiography, Survivor of Love, you have some sort of insight into that journey of my own. But I was just like, how am I ever? And I just had a moment of my confidence, I think. I just had a moment where I was feeling, am I really good enough? Can I do this? I know when I'm working with groups and classes, I know I do work very well, and mainly because I'm literally just there as a channel and a source for these higher energies and beings to work through as well. And that does come across in the teachings, in the readings, whatever sessions I'm doing, whether it's one-to-one or with groups of people. But when we're talking about mass groups of people, and at some points in this future journey maybe being questioned heavily on certain topics, I know that God will give me all the answers as and whenever I need. But like I said, I had a moment of weakness, you could say, of not believing in myself. And not long after watching that movie, like within the hour, I just felt to go and have a meditation, because I could feel, I felt this pressure on my shoulders. I felt this heavy, what at the time felt like a heavy burden of responsibility. And I was just, how am I going to do it? How else can I help myself on this journey to be the best that I can, so that eventually I can give the best of myself to so many other people? And I was taken suddenly through my meditation. I was taken through this dark tunnel, and at the very end of this tunnel, I saw this wonderfully elegant, royal, regal-looking lady. And I asked, oh, who is this? And I immediately got Queen Anne. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, by far. And I'll be honest, I'd never until this point heard of a Queen Anne. I quite like the Tudor and Stuarts era. Everyone's heard of Henry VIII and his 6 wives. And I was one of them as well. So, yeah, the one that got her head chopped off. But I'd never actually heard of Queen Anne. So I just went with it as I was being shown, and I started being given information, and I was very aware immediately that what I was being shown is one of my past lives. Over these last few years, I've had many, many past lives open up to me. And at times it's as if, now I'm to a point where I feel myself not just as who I am in this present day, in this moment, here and now, in this very vessel, within the family that I walk, within this time era that I walk. I am very aware that I am this being that has walked many lives, and all of those different lives are all they're my memories that make me who I am today. They have all become a part of me in my heightened awareness and realization of myself. And so this was just another one that was being opened up to me at this moment in time. And I was told that I actually spoke out to great audiences, and that I was loved for being a very people's person, and that I always had the right words to say. I was told that that certain people who ruled below me wanted me out the way a lot, because I had a very loving, what some might say airy-fairy kind of attitude towards everything. And I don't know what they would have been back then, but I guess what we'd call the politicians of today, the government. I suppose it was government then as well, but they didn't necessarily like my ways, because they recognised it to be what they thought weak, because government is all about power and money and gain, and quite self-centered, as we've probably sadly been more enlightened to over the last few years, when certain politicians have been caught out, money-wise, and having a bit too much for themselves and all of that. I'm sure there are many, many more truths to be uncovered along the way, but it wasn't so different back then either, apparently. So I was being shown this lifetime, and still I managed to keep my strength, and I apparently led my country for many, many years. This country, as it goes, England. I think I'm the second cousin of Queen Elizabeth, if we go back to that lifetime, but she might not accept me now. Queen Elizabeth II. So yeah, this I was shown that I was actually a great speaker, that the people loved me because I brought great inspiration and ways of love and peace to to my people. And yeah, despite the government not so much liking me and wanting me out of the way, the people loved me. Now, what this gave me in that moment of being exposed to this hidden truth, well, a truth that had been hidden within me, a part of my soul memory, what was being shown is, look, you have this in you, you've done it before. And this is what the angels said to me when they brought this to me. They said to me, you see, you can do it, you've done it before, you've led a whole nation of people, you inspired, you helped, you taught. And they're just saying to me, you have this. This is all part of your soul memory, and another part of the soul memory that has been tapped into and awakened. I've been made very aware of other past lifetimes as well, where I have very much led a life of leadership, whether it be in ancient India, in Egypt, South America. There are many other lifetimes that, yes, I have led a role of leadership. But when I actually researched Queen Anne, the year's gone from my head now. You see, this is why I'm so wonderful to work with, because I don't retain a lot of information. What comes out of me, it's from the heart. I'm only speaking it because it's ingrained within me, because this doesn't seem to hold too much, but I think that's just all part and parcel of living in like 20 different worlds all at once. I can't kind of fully be present in every single one. Yet, in a wonderful sense, I am completely present because I'm ultimately aware of all of them at the same time at times. So yes. And I was enlightened, and when I looked up this Queen Anne, I don't think it's any more than about 200 years ago that she actually reigned. And everything that I was given in this meditation about Queen Anne, I found to be truth, a lot of it to be truth, and to be confirmed through some of the knowledge that I was able to research on Queen Anne. And it was really wonderful because my head chambermaid, a lady who I'd done a past life reading for a few months before that, I picked up very much that we had a very strong connection in a past life, and that I was this someone of royalty, and that she was like a very high leading lady in service to me somehow. But I didn't see her as just a servant. She was literally my best friend, and I would insist that I took her around everywhere with me. And I was bringing all this through with lots of different information for this lady of this past life, and of course I was a part of it, and it was a lovely awakening for myself as well, so it was quite exciting. But neither of us ever thought, about looking into it and who this could have been and what era this could have been. And I think actually a year was given, but we did, I left it to this lady if she wanted to, because it was her reading, so if she wanted to find out more about it, she could. And she didn't at the time. She didn't go and look into it anymore. So yeah, when I was given this past life, and I was reading up about myself as Queen Anne, as I was researching on the internet some information of this lady, it starts to also talk about her head chambermaid, who was her closest friend and confidant, and that she insisted on taking her everywhere with her to many different events. And basically everything that I got said in this past life reading, it was showing it right here. And it was wonderful because it gave the lady's name, the head chambermaid's name and everything. So I was able to then give that to the beautiful lady who I gave that reading to. So that was lovely, because that just strengthened a little bond that we already had between us, but it just kind of strengthened it that bit more. And I always remember the first time I ever met her as well. We were doing a workshop together. The minute I laid eyes on her, I remember just thinking, I just want to hug you. I feel like I know you. And you know, and as time's gone on, and I awaken even more, it's, oh, of course I know her. I'm sure I've spent many lifetimes with her. And that was just a really beautiful confirmation moment of a specific lifetime that we had shared, and the roles that we played in each other's lives. So yes, that was really lovely. So like I said, I was, by seeing that this was only a couple of 100 years ago, actually made me a little bit more comfortable with the idea, I suppose, because a lot of the other lifetimes that I had been given were quite ancient, old ones. And you know, and I might think to myself, well, yeah, thousands of years ago I was doing this or doing that, but you know, now, as time, I've gone on these many journeys in life, and who I am now, can I do this? And I was reminded that, you know what, it's not that long ago that you were doing this. We're not talking thousands of years ago. We're not talking hundreds and hundreds of years ago. I think the most it is like 200 years ago. So it's not that far. It's not that far behind that I was doing this certain thing. So yes, and now I'm to a point where, you know what, there are times when I look around at the world and I think, God, so much chaos, so much hate, so much pain and suffering, the things that people are doing to one another, the way that people react, the way that people abuse their own bodies, never mind what they do to others. And you know, if I allow my energy to drop so low where I become sad of all that is, I'm not gonna be anyone to help anybody. But I am able to stand and see from a much higher perspective. And with that, I am able to see with love and compassion. I'm able to see without the judgment. And and to see without lowering my energy, so that I become a part of that darkness, because I want to be one of those that brings light to the dark, not that helps the dark to grow. So yes, you know, infinite, we all are. Incredible, we all are. I was given with that meditation confidence in what I'm here to do, and just a little boost of further trust in, you know what, whatever's going to happen, you're going to guide it, you're going to take me there, and what will be will be. If I am ever put, well, I do some public speaking, and I do talks with audiences, and I do also work on platform, delivering messages from the angels to an audience, or from spirit, from the masters. I do work with audiences, and I've never really been shy or afraid to do that. I've always had that confidence to be able to do public speaking. But when it becomes serving in absolute truth, and when it is serving, giving in such a responsible way, you know, the truth of self, the truth of who we really are, the truth of what we are actually really a part of. Yes, that used to daunt me, to stand. Being a lady of truth in service to ultimate truth, it is very important to me that I get my job right. This is what I'm here to do. Maybe not my career, I don't know, you know, when it comes to making money, I just put all that to one side. This is what I'm here to do. And it means a lot to me to get it right, to help other people. So in order to perfect my work and what I have to offer, I have to spend a lot of time on perfecting myself. And I probably will not get to that perfect state in this lifetime. But it is an ongoing journey for myself. So I was given the confidence within that meditation. And yes, it reminded me that I do have it in me to do this work. I do have it in me to give my best and to help other people, and to enlighten others to this wonderful truth. And that one day, whether it is in my living days in this lifetime or in a few hundred or couple of thousands of years' time, I know that one day work that myself and many other people like me are bringing to the earth right now is not going to be, it's all going to have played its part in making everything that is going to be in the future happen. We're all playing our part in that right now, right this moment. And just stepping down from that, if you like. For those that find, the whole idea of this infinite amazing, because we're such amazing people, and if you're in a little bit of a low place that you just can't see that in yourself right now, do you know what? Go to the basics. Read up on your biology. Read up on how the human body functions and works within itself. How the brain is such an intricate engine that kind of operates this whole vessel, if you like. However, with heart maths research, you start to understand that the heart actually plays quite a equal role in all that cannot be seen, all the matters of the mind, so to speak. A lot of that is also within the heart space. There are cells in the heart that hold memory, that actually help us also to problem solve. And it's wonderful research. If you can do any research on heart maths, please do, because it is so interesting. And there's lots of research to show now that, yes, the heart plays an equal, if not a greater part to what the brain functions do. However, when it comes to matters of the brain, like I said, all these functions and processes that we do, we want a drink, we just pick up our cup and we take a sip and we swallow, and the drink's going down. We're not even thinking about what we're doing, we just do it. All these unconscious actions that we just do. When you've been driving for so long, you kind of, you don't even need to think when you need to change gear next. You just automatically know certain turnings and places where you need to change gear or brake or the functions of driving. But all these different brain processes that go on without us even having to give a thought. The fact that we are breathing, the fact that our body is pumping all this blood around every part of us, and the heart's pumping away, the neurons are firing, there's all these thoughts going on in our head whilst we're still doing all these different actions. On a biological level alone, we are incredible. If you wanted to go a bit beyond that, and psychobiology, so looking at the psychological behaviors as a result to biology, to the biological workings of the body, we are so intricate. We are just incredible. There's some great documentaries you can watch about these kind of things. But even just in our physical makeup and how we operate on a physical level is amazing in itself, So when you start to then delve beyond what all this physical is about, it only gets even more amazing, and we are just awakened to even more truth of how incredible we are and the potential we hold inside of us, the potential that we have to do absolutely anything. I am somebody that when it comes to academic work, I have always had to work hard to achieve. If I don't put my absolute all into it, I will not achieve. And, you know, it's one of those things. When I was at school, at the end of every year, I'd get my school report, and it was always, Sunita could have done better. It used to break my heart, because when I was, you know, in primary school especially, I used to think, oh, I've tried so hard, you know, and I'd get that report, and then it would say, Sunita could have done better. And yeah, it would truly break my heart. And for myself, I was just one of these that, well, when I got into secondary school, and I thought, right, here's my chance to really prove myself. So the first year, I really put my heart and everything into doing well, and got my school report back at the end of the year. And what did it say? Same old, same old. And that's where I just threw in the towel then, and I became a little bit reckless. And because of other things that were going on in my life at that time, I kind of gave up even trying to impress anybody anymore. However, when I started college and I started doing it was an MVQ in early years childcare and education, I surprised myself even as to how well I did, because I was actually passionate about something. I really wanted to learn it, and I absorbed myself into it. I was intrigued by everything I was learning, and I was loving it. I was loving it. And I did so well in my first year that I actually got offered a scholarship to do, because I don't think it would have been able to afford for me to have done my second year to have got my MVQ3. But I actually got offered a scholarship to do my level 3 as well, which was a bit mind-blowing for me. You know, not doing that great at school. And then a few years after that, I took not a complete change in direction, still working with people, and children, if you like, but on a deeper level, and I did my psychology degree. Now, going back 15 years ago, I would never in a million years thought that I would have been going to university, but I did. I ended up going to university. And, well, when I say I did quite well, I left with a 2-2 in psychology. I got my degree. But you know what? There were so many people that, you know, that when we were getting our results and everything, that were saying things like, oh no, I hope I don't get a 2-2. Yeah, a 2-2 means you've passed, but it's not great, is it? You know, you've only just passed. And I remember thinking, my gosh, if I just pass this, it's going to be a miracle, you know. And I worked so hard, and I got a 2-2. And I had friends that barely even needed to revise for we had like about 6 exams every half of the year. So every year for 3 years we had 2 lots of about 6 or 7 exams that we had to do. And it was tough going, and there was a lot of coursework and stuff that had to go into that, as well as the exams. And like I said, there was some people, they barely had to try, and they got great marks, and they achieved really well. I personally am just somebody that has always had to try. My strengths are in other areas, but I had to really, really put my all into it and try hard and work hard to get what I wanted. But I did. And the funny thing is that, and I did go on to do some work in the psychological field after, but all volunteering mainly. I wasn't fortunate enough to actually, I did go back to work in a school for a little while after that, but it was all meant to be. I wasn't meant to be working anywhere else. I was meant to be focusing time on myself. And again, as my book would inform you of the journey that I then went on, that if I was working, I wouldn't have been able to have experienced what I did and go through the healing that was necessary for me at that time and continues to be now. But, you know, I would never have thought I was somebody that could have achieved in that sense. To some people, you know, getting a degree with a 2-2, they might look down on me. But my gosh, I'm so proud of myself for doing it. you know, for actually being brave enough to go forwards. I even found in the first couple of months, the whole experience of being at uni, I found that a bit intimidating, you know. I'm surrounded by all these people that are meant to be quite clever, and just that feeling that I'm not meant to be here, you know, like I wasn't good enough. But I just didn't see it in myself at the time. So, you know, sometimes if there's something we want in life, or there's certain goals we want to achieve, and we think, oh, I don't know, you know, I don't think I could do that, or yeah, well, I could, but there's so much work involved in it, it's just not worth it. Well, you have to really ask yourself, what is worth it, and where do you want to go in life? What do you want to do? And then just look at the stepping stones that you need to take in order to achieve that goal, because all of your dreams are possible. Anything you ever want to achieve in life is possible. You just have to, first of all, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do it. Believe that you are incredible, and that you have the ability to do absolutely anything in life you ever want, whether that is certain routes of spiritual work, self-development work, career-wise, children, relationships, houses, holidays, you know, something that I'm learning a bit more recently, in ways, again, as I mentioned in a previous video, about, you know, actually we usually put our own blocks in life without us even consciously realizing it, and with that little bit of a helping hand, whether it be from spirit, the angels, the masters, whether it be from a friend, or from your own inner awareness and wisdom, we start to see the ways that we can remove these blocks, just as I did with the whole idea of going on holiday and feeling like, oh, I'm never going to get to see these wonderful, amazing places in the world. And, well, you know, start to make it happen. Even if I can just put 50p or £1 in a jar, in my holiday jar, every few days, well, eventually that pot is going to mount up, and eventually, whether it's next year or 2, 3, 5 years time, whenever it happens, it's going to happen, because I've made a start, and I've started that collection in belief and absolute trust that, yes, that is my starting pot. That is what is going to take me to where I want to be, to what I want to do, or one of my dreams at least. So, you know, and in life it can be that simple for everything. We just have to learn to work through the blocks. In time, we will also do I will also share some work with you and meditations in drawing in different energies to help us beat through some of those blocks, to become aware of some of those blocks. You know, the Hindu god Ganesh is the elephant god. He's a wonderful, wonderful energy to invite into your meditations and to guide you through some of the blocks in your life and how to overcome them. He's great at, literally, he's come into my meditation before, and he's just, with his great, powerful trunk, he's shown me this brick wall, and he's just beat down with his trunk, like this wall, till it's just crumbled to the floor and disappeared. And suddenly I've been shown the light and my way forwards, and it has, you know, it's been, that was an incredible meditation for myself, and you know, and something that I'm sure that I'll share with you at some point as well. But for now, don't forget, lesson for today: you are amazing, you are loved, you are supported, and I love you too. You know, I may not have met you yet in this lifetime, but I know that I know you. I know that if you're watching me, that we have shared lifetimes together, whether you were just someone in an audience watching me be beheaded, or whether we have walked together, talked together. Know that we have met, and I know you well, and I love you dearly. From my heart to yours, angel blessings. Goodbye.